Judy Holliday was an American actress, comedian and singer. She began her career as part of a nightclub act before working in Broadway plays and musicals. Her success in the 1946 stage production of Born Yesterday as Billie Dawn led to her being cast in the 1950 film version, for which she won an Academy Award for Best Actress and a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress, Motion Picture Musical or Comedy. She appeared regularly in films during the 1950s. She was noted for her performance on Broadway in the musical Bells Are Ringing, winning a Tony Award for Best Performance by a Leading Actress in a Musical and reprising her role in the 1960 film. In 1952, Holliday was called to testify before the Senate Internal Security Subcommittee to answer claims she was associated with communism. Although not blacklisted from films, she was blacklisted from radio and television for almost 3 years. Early life. Born Judith Tuvim in New York City, she was the only child of Abe and Helen Tuvim, who were both of Russian Jewish descent. She grew up in Sunnyside, Queens, New York and graduated from Julia Richman High School. Her first job was as an assistant switchboard operator at the Mercury Theatre run by Orson Welles and John Houseman. Holliday reportedly having an IQ of 172. Career. Holliday began her show business career in 1938 as part of a nightclub act called the Reviewers. The other 4 members of the group were Betty Comden, Adolph Green, Alvin Hammer and John Frank. The Reviewers played engagements at various New York nightclubs including the Village Vanguard, Spivey's Roof, Blue Angel, Rainbow Room, and Trocadero in Hollywood, California. The group disbanded in early 1944. In 1944, she played a small, but noticeable role as an airman's wife in the 20th Century Fox film version of the U.S. Army Air Force's hit play Winged Victory. She did not appear in the stage version, which toured the U.S. both before and after production of the film. Holliday made her Broadway debut on March 20, 1945 at the Belasco Theatre in Kiss Them For Me and was one of the recipients that year of the Clarence Derwent Award. In 1946, she returned to Broadway as the scatterbrained Billie Dawn in Born Yesterday. Author Garson Kenin wrote the play for Jean Arthur, who played the role of Billie out of town but left the role for personal reasons. Kenin then selected Holliday, 2 decades Arthur's junior, as her replacement. In his book Tracy and Hepburn, Kenin mentions that when Columbia bought the rights to the film Born Yesterday, studio boss Harry Cohn would not consider casting the Hollywood unknown. Kenin, along with George Cukor, Spencer Tracy, and Katharine Hepburn conspired to promote Holliday by offering her a key part in the 1949 film Adam's Rib. She got rave reviews, and Cohn offered her the chance to repeat her role for the film version, but only after she did a screen test. She won the first Golden Globe Award for Best Actress, Motion Picture Musical or Comedy, and at the 23rd Academy Awards, Holliday won the Academy Award for Best Actress, defeating Gloria Swanson, nominated for Sunset Boulevard, Eleanor Parker, for Caged, and Bette Davis and Ann Baxter, both for All About Eve. In 1954, she starred opposite then-newcomer Jack Lemmon in his first 2 feature films, the popular comedies It Should Happen to You and PHFFFT. Bernard Dick summed up Holliday's acting, perhaps the most important aspect of the Judy Holliday persona, both in variations of Billie Dawn and in her roles as housewife, is her vulnerability. Her ability to shift her mood quickly from comic to serious is one of her greatest technical gifts. George Cukor said Holliday had, in common with the great comedians, that depth of emotion, that unexpectedly touching emotion, that thing which would unexpectedly touch your heart. Investigated for communism, in 1950, Holliday was the subject of an FBI investigation looking into allegations she was a communist. The investigation did not reveal positive evidence of any membership in the Communist Party, and was concluded after 3 months. Unlike many others tainted by the communist investigation, Holliday was not blacklisted from movies, but was blacklisted from performing on radio and television for almost 3 years. In 1952, she was called to testify before the Senate Internal Security Subcommittee to explain why her name had been linked to Communist Front organizations. She was advised to play dumb, which she did very well. She acknowledged she had been taken advantage of. Later career: in November 1956, Holliday returned to Broadway starring in the musical Bells Are Ringing with book and lyrics by her reviewers friends, Betty Comden and Adolph Green, and directed by Jerome Robbins. In 1957, she won the Tony Award for Best Leading Actress in a Musical. In 1960 she starred in the film version of Bells Are Ringing. Of her performance in the stage musical, Brooks Atkinson wrote in the New York Times, "Nothing has happened to the shrill little mole whom the town loved and born yesterday. The squeaky voice, the embarrassed giggle, the brassy naivete, the dimples, the teeter-totter walk fortunately remain unimpaired. Miss Holliday now adds a trunk full of song and dance routines. Without losing any of that doll-like personality, she is now singing music by Jules Stein and dancing numbers composed by Jerome Robbins and Bob Fosse. She has gusto enough to triumph in every kind of music hall antic." In 1956 she starred in the film version of The Solid Gold Cadillac. In October 1960, Holliday started out-of-town tryouts on the play Lorette based on the life of Lorette Taylor. The show was directed by Joseph Copyright Quintero with background music by Elmer Bernstein and produced by Alan Pakula. When Holliday became ill and had to leave the show, it closed in Philadelphia without opening on Broadway. She had throat surgery shortly after leaving the production in October 1960. Her last role was in the stage musical Hot Spot, co-starring newcomers such as Joseph Campanella and Mary Louise Wilson, which closed after 43 performances on May 25, 1963. Personal life: in 1948 Holliday married clarinetist, and later classical music and television producer and academic David Oppenheim, with whom she had a son, film editor Jonathan Oppenheim, before the couple divorced in 1958. She reportedly had a long-term relationship with jazz musician Jerry Mulligan, but the two never married. She died from breast cancer on June 7, 1965, aged 43, and was interred in the Westchester Hills Cemetery in Hastings-on-Hudson, New York. Holliday has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 6901 Hollywood Boulevard. Filmography: Source, Stage, Source, Discography. Holliday recorded 2 studio albums during her lifetime. Trouble Is a Man, Holliday with Mulligan, references. External links: Judy Holliday at the Internet Movie Database, Judy Holliday at the Internet Broadway Database.